Today we read Matthew chapter 14 verses 1 to 12, the beheading of John the Baptist. This is a grim story, much sensationalised in film but bad enough in the original. The rash promise, the exploitative women, the greed for revenge, the cruel and unjust treatment of an innocent man who spoke only the truth and spoke it without regard for personal safety. The part with the most pathos for me is the final sentence. John's disciples buried him, then they went and told Jesus. Nothing is said of Jesus' reaction. In the Gospel's typical style of understatement, in the next verse we're just told that he withdrew. But imagine what he must have felt and gone through. John was his cousin, first of all. Born just 6 months before, he would have mourned him. Then think about the roles they each played. The baptism. John launched Jesus, as it were, on his ministry. Jesus saw John as the fulfilment of the prophecy of Elijah returning to prepare the people for the coming of the Messiah, the forerunner. Not just in telling the people that he was to come and pointing him out, which John did. Forerunner in another sense too. While John was there, continuing his ministry, even locked in prison, Jesus perhaps thought, not yet, not yet. Now John has gone before in death, cruelly executed. Now Jesus knows the time is coming. He would have always known he was not going to make old bones, but now he knows it will not be long. So he withdraws, seeking a quiet place to be with God, to be alone. It's so hard for him these days to achieve that, and sure enough, before long, the crowd catch up and clamour for his attention and his healing. Amazingly, that demand, coming at such a time, draws from Jesus the feeding of the 5,000. His compassion for them and his own ministry of service overcome his personal sense of loss and any fears for his own person as well. But that time alone with God, however brief, was the key. It allowed him to realign his will with the will of God, to open himself afresh as a channel for the love and the power of God, to regain strength and direction and purpose. None of us can cope with the blows that hit us in our lives without that time of retreat, of grieving, and of drawing strength from God. If Jesus needed to do this, how much more do we? So many people have been weeping in the cathedral in the weeks since we reopened, from bereavements suffered during lockdown, or from who knows what wounds, what unhealed wounds from the past, coming to the surface as they sit in the presence of God. Sitting in that presence, we can know his compassion, his total empathy with our griefs, his nourishing love building us up and giving us strength for the next step.